The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Monday. Man, it is nice to say that the weather is pretty doggone good. And to be specific with that thought, it is 60 degrees, and I love it. How about that?
I'll take that every day of the week.
Oh, yeah. And twice on Sunday. So we've got a little bit different show for you today, and I'll explain what I mean by that in just a moment. Kelly Holcomb will not be with us today. He's down in Valdosta trying to get his son, the quarterback, proper furniture, bedding, whatever. So he's down there. But Kelly will be a part of the show. First of all, at 3:20 today, Taylor Barnette will join us to talk, for the most part, SEC basketball. Then at 4 o'clock, we're going to do something very different. Last night was the 59th annual National Football Foundation, how do I say this, College Hall of Fame Middle Tennessee Chapter dinner. Try saying all that.
Well, that's a mouthful.
So I think last night is the 20th year in a row as a board member that I have emceed. About 5 years ago, we came up with a good idea for the 68 high school honorees and the 7 college honorees. Everybody's wearing tuxes, which I know shocks everybody. Billy, do you have the picture of me in a tux?
I do not at the moment.
I thought you did. Did I not see it?
I've got it in video form for the Chalk Talk.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Not right now.
So we devised an idea to keep the kids from falling asleep, that before the banquet ever starts, because they have to get out there early, get the tuxes and all that kind of crap. And we decided to do, about 5 years ago, a Chalk Talk. And this year's Chalk Talk had a heck of a panel. It had Kelly Holcomb, 13-year veteran of the National Football League as a quarterback. Pretty remarkable story, given that he grew up in Fayetteville, Tennessee. Then we had Steve Hutchinson, considered by many to be the best offensive lineman of his era. Pro Football Hall of Fame 2020, College Football Hall of Fame in 2024. The third member of the panel, Dr. Kevin Dyson. Kevin Dyson, many of you will remember, was the guy who scored the touchdown in the Music City Miracle. The play was called Home Run Throwback. And Billy, let me ask this, because I don't know all of what you're using. Does his description of the play come up?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to let you hear about 20 minutes of the Chalk Talk, because if you love football, you will love this. So are they seeing this picture right now? Those
They are.
Those who are, so Kelly and I are in tuxes. And let me say this, when you're the MC, one of the things that can go on, Kelly and Steve Hutchinson present the plaques to the 68 high school honorees and the 7 college honorees. One year, when you're going through the list of them, essentially you're saying, and from Father Ryan High School, Billy Derrick. Well, one year, I got him screwed up. And I missed by one. And, of course, they're yelling at me in the back, you've got the wrong player, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, Kelly is right behind me. And Kelly loves when I screw up. And he goes, What are we doing? And I may have left a word out.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah. So it'll be a little bit different. We'll open up the phones around 4:20, 4:25. But I'm hoping that you all enjoy the Chalk Talk. Billy, you were in there. They were good.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And they all have different perspectives on playing in the NFL. Kelly played 13 years and was a bubble type guy, had to fight to make teams, was also a starter, had a huge playoff game. Kevin Dyson struggled through some injuries, only played six years. But Steve Hutchinson said he got a little lucky. He stayed healthy and turned himself into an NFL Hall of Famer, which and I thought they had hold of the room. The guys liked it.
Great.
And they were loud enough. I mean, no mics in there, but they commanded the room, and that was pretty cool.
So y'all are going to hear about 20 minutes of this, and I hope you enjoy it because it was pretty cool. Now, Billy, do you have an update with some level of substance?
It's got some substance today, and it's brought to you.
Meat on the bone.
Meat on the bone.
Mm-hmm.
It's brought to you by Lori Barnette Leland. You can find her online at mortgageladyusa.com or give her a call, 615-969-4350. We're going to start with some college basketball. The latest AP poll has arrived. Auburn is at number 1 for the 7th straight week after holding on to beat Georgia. Meanwhile, preseason number 1 Kansas dropped out of the poll for the first time in nearly 4 years. They had an 80 consecutive weeks of being ranked in the top 25. They fall out of the rankings.
Who was this?
Kansas. They were preseason number 1.
They deserved to fall out of it.
Yeah, so they lost to BYU earlier last week.
Last Tuesday by 34.
And did they lose again Saturday?
No, they beat, oh God, who was it? Kansas beat pretty good. I don't remember. That's terrible.
Let's see. Kansas
beat somebody in the Big 12.
They beat Oklahoma State.
Okay, Oklahoma State's god-awful.
Yeah, so congrats for that.
There's going to be a coaching change at Oklahoma State if they're not careful.
Yeah, it's been a tough run for Steve Lutz coming over from Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
Tennessee at number 5. They've moved up 1 spot. At number 6 is Alabama. That sets up a top 10 matchup in Knoxville on Saturday, which is a huge game for both teams. Could decide a 1 seed. It's a big for seeding in the SEC tournament. Rick Pitino's St. John's Red Storm up to number 7 in the top 10.
Stop there for a second. They are now my sleeper to get to the Final Four.
They're good.
They're not great offensively. They've got some limitations, but they will get after your butt on the defensive end like nobody's business. I will say this. Pitino, I think because of some of the behavioral issues at Louisville, lost a lot of public support. There's no doubt he's a great basketball coach. But what he did at Louisville did not help him a whole lot.
No.
And I would say that what's going on at St. John's has cemented the public belief that this guy's one hell of a coach.
He sure is. And they're coming off a win over UConn. They swept the series over UConn, 89-75. They beat them yesterday. They'll play Butler on Wednesday, and they've got a chance to finish their season undefeated here down the stretch. Also, the SEC, they have 7 teams in the top 20 in the AP poll. Tennessee and Alabama at 5 and 6. A&M moved back to number 12. Missouri is at number 14, who will come to Nashville on Saturday to play Vandy. Kentucky stays put at number 17 despite losing to Alabama. And Mississippi State is at 24. They dropped back, I want to say, dropped back after a loss. So that's what we got in the AP poll. It'll be another big week in the SEC. Also, some NFL Combine news. Shedeur Sanders will not work out for teams at the Combine. I'm sure Kelly would have some things to say about this. Though he won't work out at Lucas Oil Stadium, he'll meet with teams in Indianapolis. Quarterbacks are scheduled to arrive Tuesday at the Combine. So no Shedeur Sanders on the field at the Combine. You also won't have Ashton Jeanty. He will skip on-field drills at the NFL Combine.
And I think he can get away with it. I don't know what I think about Shedeur Sanders blowing it off as far as showing them whatever they want to see. The pro days at the schools have kind of replaced some of this stuff. And so I don't know that it's a big deal, but I would sure think that teams like the Titans would love to see what he's all about, and they will later.
They absolutely will. Jeanty is he's still expected to take part in the interviews and the medical screenings, but they will not be able to see his physical metrics, the freakish athleticism of Jeanty. Also in college football, Vanderbilt's spring game has been announced. It will be at 1 o'clock Central Time on April the 12th at First Bank Stadium. It's the first time since 2022 that they've been able to hold a spring game inside the stadium with construction going on. So it was held at the soccer and lacrosse complex the last couple of years. So it'll be at First Bank Stadium, and it won't be freezing like it is now. But
now we hope.
April 12th, come on.
Believe me, it can get cold.
It can. It's gotten cold in spring ball before, but Vandy will get going at some point next week. I want to say it's March 3rd with spring ball. So spring ball already around the corner. Up to the NFL, the Packers submitted a proposal to the NFL's competition committee to ban the tush push, according to league sources today. It's also sometimes called the brotherly shove.
Yes.
In Philly. It's obviously a design quarterback run, usually involves Jalen Hurts taking a snap from under center and then diving forward while being pushed from his teammates. They've obviously used it a lot, but the Packers are trying to say, hey, let's get this out of the game.
Okay, so let me ask this question. If you took all of the people that watched, for instance, the Super Bowl in our country, what do you think would be the percentage who vote to get rid of the tush push?
I think a large percentage.
I'm voting get rid of it.
Obviously, the Eagles wouldn't. Who's the other team that has tried? The Bills tried it a lot with Josh Allen, did not necessarily succeed. So they might be one of the teams that vote to ban it. But who knows? But
look, we know Philly will lead the charge to keep it.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly all of the, how do you decide whether it stays or it goes? But I'm glad that somebody's bringing it up, because to me, it's a little bit like the shift in baseball.
Yeah.
Okay. At the time, there was sort of, well, why not? Why not have a shift? Why not that be legal? It's bad for the game. And some people will argue that, that this isn't bad. I think it is bad for the game. First of all, I think you get a ton of injuries out of it. Secondly, there are people off sides all over the place. It's, for the most part, when it gets run, it's not a legal play. And I think it would not be a bad idea to get rid of it.
I'm with you. There's also some chances that the NFL might change the kickoff rule, including touchbacks moving to the 35-yard line, according to Rich McKay. So this was actually late last week. So you could see some changes to the kickoff rule.
So it did what they wanted it to do, in that it did get more action. However, the whole, you're going to see all these teams strategize the kick to hit at the 10-yard line, and it didn't do any of that.
Whatever.
Also, bad attitude.
Well, Kelly's had some influence on us.
He's rubbed off on both of us. Yeah. By the way, who was it that earlier said, I know who it was. I think it was our buddy Greg Pogue, who said that he saw Kelly Holcomb smile more last night than he's ever seen him smile. Because when
Really?
because when the kids come up there for their plaque, they end up taking a picture with Steve Hutchinson and Kelly Holcomb. And of course, it's kind of you got to smile for the picture. And so Kelly apparently, halfway smiled, was fairly upbeat, positive.
Overheard that conversation. Heard Poggy say that's more than I've seen him smile in his entire life.
Okay, now here's one thing that came up, and I don't think it's going to come. I don't think you're using this. Late in the Chalk Talk, there was a kid who asked for some advice. And Kelly tells the kid, don't bitch. Don't complain. And I so wanted to say, oh my God, if this is
Coming
not
from
the pot calling the kettle black. When I heard that, I about fell out of the chair. But if you remember, I didn't respond to it. I'd like to have, however.
That was absolutely the pot calling the kettle black.
My goodness.
Also, some disappointing or sad news coming out of Cleveland. Larry Dolan, who spearheaded the longest ownership tenure in the history of Cleveland's baseball franchise, passed away yesterday. He was 94 years old. Obviously, he's been there seemingly forever, but a lifelong Clevelander. He graduated from St. Ignatius High School, rooted for the Indians for decades. He has passed away.
94. Wow.
But so is he related to James Dolan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I believe they're brothers.
Okay. That's what we got. I know at the high school level, George, we've got state championships set, state tournaments set. The brackets are out. Your BGA Wildcats had a big win over.
Darn tootin' they did.
Over a really good pasture team.
I was there.
My Father Ryan Irish had a couple of big wins. They beat NBA in the semifinal round, the first round, and then knocked off Pope Prep to win their first region title in a long time.
So are they in the state or in the sub-state?
They're in the state tournament. They are the one seed in the middle region in the Division II AAA state title. They'll play the winner of Ensworth and Knox Catholic.
Okay.
So you got those rolling.
After the break, Taylor Barnette will join us. We got a lot of basketball to talk about. We've got a good show for you. It's a little different than normal with the Chalk Talk, but I think you're going to enjoy it. Stick around. This is 94.9 The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donley Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donley have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
This is Kevin Ingram. It's a midweek visit to the Lone Star State as Vanderbilt heads to Texas A&M this Wednesday. Tip off at 6. Join Tim Thompson and me for all the coverage starting at 5:30.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, this just in. When you go to Texas A&M, expect a rock fight. That's exactly what happened on Saturday. It was a really good win for Tennessee on the road in a tough environment. With that in mind, we say hello to former Belmont basketball star Taylor Barnette. Taylor, how are you?
George, I'm good. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Like the
Awesome.
backdrop.
Yeah, man. Got to represent Ellsworth Systems. Come on.
I like that. So here's the thing with Tennessee, and I want to get you to talk about this a little bit. So they're good enough to go on the road and beat A&M, and there are not many teams in the country that are going to be able to say that. They're able to do that because Chaz Lanier goes absolutely berserk down there. Everything he threw up found the right place. He scored I guess it was like 30 in that game. And Taylor, to me, that's the tough part of trying to figure them out is they feel like a low 1 seed, a high 2 seed when he goes crazy. And when he doesn't, they feel more like a 4 seed.
Yeah, I mean, I think 22 of them were in like the first half. I feel like he was like 8 of 9 from the field. Played really well. Yeah, and that's an impressive road win. You know, at Texas A&M, I feel like Buzz's teams just always the word to describe them are just tough. So to go down there and get a win on the road is really impressive. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a little bit of just college hoops in general. Is I think there's nights where the offense comes and goes, and you got to rely on your defense. And, you know, that's the good thing for Tennessee is they have the best defense in the country, or at least it's top 5. It might fluctuate a little bit. So I think that they can have confidence going into every game, no matter who they play, whether the ball goes in or not, because they can really defend. Now, if Chaz Lanier and the whole team are not playing well on offense, that's a different story. But when he's playing well, I mean, they're really hard to beat.
So when they come to tournament time, again, obviously, if you're a 1 or a 2 seed, your first round matchup, you should be able to take care of no matter what. No sure thing. But past that, can Tennessee win NCAA tournament games without a great Chaz Lanier?
I think so. I mean, it's just, you know, they have their defense to depend on. I really believe that. And I think that a lot of times NCAA tournament games can be grinded out. They can just be grinded out type games. And that's honestly, that bodes well for them. Obviously, it helps when Chaz is playing really well and he's shooting the ball well, and Sakai Ziegler's getting in the lane and spraying out and playing and getting the other guys involved on the offensive end. But, you know, it just like, you know, they may have an off night offensively. The team they could play in the Sweet 16 might have an off night. That game could be in the 50s. Who knows? So I think it's possible, but, you know, it all depends.
Big game Saturday, Tennessee, Alabama. Billy, is that in Knoxville or Tuscaloosa?
Knoxville.
Whew. Thompson Bowling will be rocking.
Yeah.
So let's get to Vandy for a minute. It feels like there are now 3 paths that Vandy can take to get to the NCAA tournament. The obvious is to sweep the home games against Missouri and Arkansas, and that probably gets them in. The second option appears to be win 1 out of the 2 at home and go beat Georgia in the regular season finale. The third option to me is you split at home between Missouri and Arkansas, neither of which will be easy, and then you beat Oklahoma, who it looks like—
You mean Georgia?
No, you beat Oklahoma in the opening round of the SEC
gotcha.
tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those 3 paths, Taylor, I believe will get them in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that what makes it so tough in the SEC is that everyone has so much to play for right now. You know, there's not like this bottom tier team that is just like cashed in, you know, just said, oh, the season's over. Everyone has so much to play for. You know, Arkansas has so much to play for coming in. Georgia has so much to play for, you know, in defending their home. So I think that's what makes it hard, is that, you know, these last 4 games for Vandy is they're going to get the best version, I think, of every team that they're going to play. But at the same time, Vandy has so much to play for. You know, they have an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament to play for, and somewhere they haven't been in a little while. And so, you know, I believe that they're going to get in. I think they'll accomplish one of those paths that you've talked about.
Okay, I want to get you to comment on a couple of things that went on Saturday in that game. The first one being the kid at Vandy, Chris Magnon. So he plays, to my way of thinking, the best game he's ever played at Vandy. Mm-hmm. He sets a tone early by hitting a wide open 3. He hadn't hit a 3-point field goal since Biden was president. Anytime he's had a wide open 3, once the SEC started, none of them have gone down. So he hits a 3 to start the game. He then blocks 2 or 3 shots inside and kind of sets the tone for what ultimately is a 19-point lead. Doesn't last, but at one point it was 19. Here's what I want to know. How does a kid who hadn't hit squat from outside find the whatever to all of a sudden hit a couple of 3s in that game and really help their offense?
Yeah, I mean, he's an experienced player. He's played a lot of college games, and I think it's just one of those moments in the season where I think he does a lot of things really well in terms of the defensive end that build his confidence. You know, you said he had a few blocks on Saturday. It takes me back to when they beat Tennessee at home, and he had that monster block off the glass late in the second half. It was a really big play. You know, that's the type of player he is. You know, he just has the confidence, I think, okay, I'm open, I'm going to shoot it. Like, whether coach is happy about it or not, or he thinks this is a good shot, I'm going to let it rip. And, you know, they went in. And so I think that meant a lot for them on Saturday, for him to have the best offensive game. And what a great thing for them going into the remainder of the 4 games that they have. I still think his role is that he plays hard and he sets a tone defensively. But if he's hitting a few shots, you know, I remember one time in the NCAA tournament when I was at Louisville, we were playing Minnesota, and I think it was Jordan Murphy had hit 2 threes all season, and he hit 3 or 4 threes against us in the game. And it's just like, sometimes that's just the way it goes.
Screw the scouting report.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this next piece of what happened Saturday is a little complicated because, to be honest, Malik Dia is a complicated story. He was a kid 2 years ago at Vandy that Stackhouse basically said, get lost. Now, frankly, I would have much rather Malik Dia tell Stackhouse to get lost, but that's apparently neither here nor there. So he leaves Vandy, and you don't see any of the stuff that we have seen. He goes to Belmont, where he shows you at times pieces of what he now is really putting together at Ole Miss. But then whether Belmont wanted him gone or he just went on his own, suddenly he's an Ole Miss rebel. And in spite of the students really getting a little out of control in some of what they said to him, Taylor, that kid can play. Wow. The difference in 2 years is shocking to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes, you know, especially in maybe the new era of college athletics is, you know, you now can get paid to play pretty much, and you can transfer and go wherever you want. So the expectation is to have immediate results. And I think that there's still so much of a developmental phase in college that needs to take place for a lot of guys. And Malik has always been talented, really talented, and is huge. I mean, he's a force. And, you know, I think he's just a product of a guy who's continued to get better and continue to mature emotionally on the floor. I think that, you know, early on in his college career, he had a tendency to get down and let negative plays affect the way that he was playing. And now I just think obviously he was super motivated on Saturday, but it was a lot of fun to see him play well. And I'm happy for him.
So he was an important piece at Belmont. And there were nights where he was the best player on the court. I looked at him Saturday and I was just blown away. So I'm going to ask this question. Is pro basketball in his future?
I think so. I don't know what level. I think he's still got some things to prove. I think he's got consistency to prove. You know, if he starts doing what he did at Vandy night in and night out, I think for sure. I think he's got pro basketball in his future, no matter what. I just don't know at what level yet. And I'm not an expert on that. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some NBA GM that just can tell you exactly where Malik D is going to end up. But he's for sure got the tools. He's got the talent. And I know he works really hard.
He's an interesting case, though. I mean, clearly there have been things that went on at the first two stops. Now he's gone to Ole Miss. Beard strikes me as a guy that's not going to put up with any of it. And it seems like he is thriving. Taylor, I saw a game 2 weeks ago where South Carolina has them on the ropes, and he's the only reason that they didn't get a big old L in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, he's definitely won some games this year. And he really can do it all. You know, sometimes he can coast. It looks like he's coasting out there, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, he just exploded for a dunk on somebody, or you know, he hit a step back three. And like I said, he's super talented. He's won some games this year, and I think he's continuing to mature as a player and become more consistent. So,
okay, now we're down to basically 4 regular season games that are left. 4 in the SEC, depending on what conference and when their tournament is. We're getting down to it. Tell me some things that you're watching pretty close right now that to you will be kind of swing stuff as to where a tournament committee goes.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. I mean, the SEC is so loaded that there's really not a bad loss, you know. I'll be interested to see what happens with Arkansas. You know, Coach Cal's in his first year down in Arkansas. He's got a lot of talent. They've started to play better. They've started to play more together, I think. They've won some big games. They got it done on Saturday. I'll be interested to see how Arkansas finishes out the year. If those guys can continue to improve, play hard, play together, and win down the stretch to make it in the NCAA tournament. I think what I'm really excited about the SEC specifically is the SEC tournament. I can't remember like ever when the SEC tournament is going to be this good. There's not going to be a single game where it's like nobody really wants to go to. But the SEC, I feel like, has just thrown everyone for a loop this year. I mean, it's like how many teams could get in right now? Like 10 to 12. I mean, it's just crazy. And so I'll be interested to see just how teams can really close out the year. I hope everyone stays healthy. I think that's a really big factor as you get, to this point in the season. Guys are tired, a little banged up. So I think that's going to play a factor.
Okay, I'm going to give you one that's off the beaten path a little bit, but here goes. Saturday night, I get home, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I watch the second half of St. Mary's at Gonzaga, assuming, like most people, that because it was at Gonzaga, they would win. I saw the first game. St. Mary's was very fortunate at the end to pull that game out. Saturday night, they were clearly the better team, and they now have beaten Gonzaga twice in the regular season. Taylor, is this at all a changing of the guard out there?
Yeah, listen, what Mark Few's done at Gonzaga is amazing. I mean, year in and year out. I don't think it's a changing of the guard. I think it's just it's a little bit of a different year. I don't think that you could say that they're the better program now. I will say I think St. Mary's has been consistent for a really long time. And I feel like they probably have a chip on their shoulder that they've been the little brother to Gonzaga for a really long time. And, I think this year they're better, but I don't think that means that Gonzaga won't come back next year and be a top 10 team and, be better than they are. I think this is just an exception, not the rule.
Okay. Here's another one for me. And Billy, you chime in here in a couple of minutes. And let me ask this, Taylor. Can you stick around for one more segment?
Yeah, that's no problem.
Bonus time?
Yeah, bonus time.
Think about this. I mean, we'll double your pay.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, great. Here's one. You were part of a staff at Louisville that had to go in and clean up a lot of the mess that Rick Pitino left when he got shown the door. And I think at the time, there really was sort of the basketball world was really down on him, and rightfully so. A lot of it was immature behavior from somebody that you would hope and expect for better things. I do think this thing at St. John's has revived people's feelings that Rick Pitino is one of the 5 best college coaches out there. And I'm starting to say to myself, you want to pick a dark horse to go a long way? Pick St. John's.
Yeah, George, I'll be honest. I don't think it's a dark horse. I think they're just that good. For them as a 4 seed, to me, is like scary, to be honest with you. To me, you think back on like 2013, Rick Pitino's team at Louisville, when he had quick, athletic guards that could play defense and just push the ball in transition. That's what he has in Kadari Richmond and Davon Smith. I mean, those guys are old and they play hard and they're quick and they're athletic. Their team, for the first time, I feel like since Coach Pitino's been back, is really tough. And that's what he prides himself on, is being tough, playing defense, not letting offense affect defense. They're really good. I would not want to play them in the NCAA tournament.
No, what I'd like to do is match up A&M and St. John's. First one to 50 wins.
and that'd be a heck of a game.
And put Ole Miss in that region too. With
why not? What the
Chris
heck?
Beard.
Maybe Tennessee as well. Okay, we'll go to the break, and then Billy, you'll be front and center stage. Taylor will probably think your questions are better. That's okay. I can handle it. This is 94.9 The Fan. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety.
If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Want to define teams by singular performances.
Sports. Did he not go back into the game after that interception?
Let's get this turned around. And we're all saying, no, they don't.
Here.
You thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Here's the college note for you. Lipscomb under Lenny Acuff competing to win the ASUN title in the regular season and get a great seed in a conference that plays home games throughout their postseason tournament. Lipscomb and Austin Peay tonight from F&M Bank Arena in Clarksville, and the game is on national TV on ESPNU.
Really?
Yeah, how about that?
That should be a packed house.
Who knows?
At least should
Who knows? Beautiful new arena up there. I've been in that arena. It's well done. This is a big game for Lipscomb. Keeping my fingers crossed for Lenny Acuff. Billy, say hello to Taylor Barnette.
Taylor, appreciate you hopping on as always. I want to go back to Vandy real quick, and obviously hearing from Vandy fans this year, they're excited that they might have a March Madness berth here on the Pike. But one of the complaints has been Jason Edwards and his minutes, right? And fans love to complain, well, why is he on the bench here? That's why Ole Miss just went on a 9-0, 12-0 run, and it does feel like whenever he's on the bench, that's when other teams make runs. And he's not averaging a crazy amount of minutes. It's not like he's playing 30, 31, 32 minutes a night, but he's also a unique style of player. He's not the biggest guy. So when you have a microwave scorer like him, he's a scorer. He likes to get his shots up. There's probably some bad shots in there as well. How do you manage a player like him that is so electrifying, but you got to be smart with the way you use him, and I feel like Mark Byington knows that.
Yeah, and I think Coach Byington's done a great job with him this year and putting him in a place to succeed. And as Jason Edwards is a really talented scorer, and he scores in bunches. He's like a microwave. I mean, when he's on, he's on. And I think the challenge is, sometimes with guys like that is if things aren't going their way offensively, there's a no defensive presence. It can really affect the defensive end. And if that's the case, it's like it's better if that guy's on the bench because we got to get stops. We need a guy who's willing to play defense and to be a part of the team on that end of the floor. So I think sometimes it's you send a message by bringing a guy and putting him on the bench if he's not playing well. And it's like, hey, you got to do the other things well, even if you're not scoring in order to play.
In the SEC, it looks like there's 5 bubble teams right now that are still alive. And you could argue Georgia and Oklahoma, both at 4-10 in the league, have a lot more work to do and are may not make it. But again, you never know. They've still got wins available for them. But out of Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma, is there a team you like more than the others that you think could make a run in March, but the wins just haven't really been there?
Yeah, I mean, I think Arkansas is really talented and has started to play better as of late. I think Vandy. I think Arkansas and Vandy out of those two, I think to me seem to be playing the best basketball right now. Have the best chance to make maybe a run in the SEC tournament, or maybe if they get in to make a run in the NCAA tournament. But then again, like it's college basketball, anything could happen. But I like the way that Arkansas has been playing lately. I think they're playing hard and playing more together. And I think that's what they were lacking early on.
Kentucky goes down at Alabama without Lamont Butler and Jackson Robinson. Probably the most emotional I've seen Mark Pope get, by the way, on the sideline. I guess playing in Tuscaloosa can do that to you. They've got a big one on Wednesday against Oklahoma at home, and that Sooner team is going to be desperate. Without Butler and Robinson, do you think Kentucky could still make a run, or do you think those are two guys they've got to have if they want to have any shot at making a run?
Listen, anything could happen, but my personal opinion is I think that they got to have those guys to make a deep run. Those guys are really good players. They're experienced. Lamont Butler's their leader. He's their captain. He gets everybody involved. He defends. And, Kentucky has not been good defensively all year long, but he particularly is a good defender. So I do think they need those guys. Other than that, I mean, they're really talented and they can play well together. I think that's what makes them good. But I do think they need those two individuals to make a deep run.
In that game, Mark Sears went off for 30 points. And, man, when he's playing like that, Alabama, I mean, they look like the best team in the country. But he's been a little inconsistent this year. Mm-hmm. Are we forgetting a little bit about him in the SEC Player of the Year? I know Janai Broome has been really good, and it's going to be hard not to give it to him. But, man, if Sears could just – I know it's hard. You can't put up 30 every night. But if he could just be a little bit more consistent, this Alabama team, I mean, they could win. They could win it all.
He's awesome. I love Mark Sears. I think he goes about his business. He's not flashy. He plays hard. He's tough. He's confident, and I think that he's a great leader for that team. He's old. He's experienced. I think when a guy like Janai Broome is, they're out in Maui and everyone's already saying he's National Player of the Year. There's so much pressure that he's obviously got to be the SEC Player of the Year. And some guys may not get a fair shot. That's not saying he's not deserving of it. I think that he is. But I think Mark Sears will be a first-team All-SEC guy.
All right, one more in the SEC. This Missouri team is really interesting. They lost at Arkansas on Saturday. That's a tough – I mean, Arkansas, like you said, they're one of the desperate teams, and they've got another big one against Texas on Wednesday. But when this Missouri team is clicking, they are dangerous. And Grill was cold. He went 2 of 12 from 3. But what do you think this Missouri team could do in March? Because top 20 team right now, when they're clicking, they're a team that looks like could make an Elite 8 Final Four run.
Yeah, when I see the Missouri team, I see a team that's connected, and I think that's a product of Dennis Gates and the job that he has done. Yeah, I love his demeanor. I think he really cares about those players. He's humble, and I think they take on that mentality that he has of just being humble and hungry. They didn't win a single SEC game last year. And this year they've been in the top 25 for a couple months now, and they're going to make the NCAA tournament regardless of how the season ends. And I'm happy for those guys. And, they play together. They want to win, and they want to see each other succeed, and there's a lot of power in that.
All right, in the AP poll, we know about Auburn, Duke, and Florida. It feels like those three teams are a tier above everyone else. I guess you could lump Alabama in there. And George mentioned St. John's. Who's a team maybe outside of that top 5 or even top 10 that you think could win it all and really make some noise in March?
All right, let's see. I'll give you. I mean, Michigan State. I think has been consistent all year long, and it just feels like that. This could be Tom Izzo's year to make another Final Four. I think their team's extremely talented. They're old. They're experienced. They're pretty complete, and he always does a great job. Getting these guys playing their best basketball this time of year, which is what really matters. That's a team that you don't want to see in March. I don't think. The other team, this is just because I have a lot of respect for their program and what he's done there is Brad Brownell and Clemson. I know that a lot of people don't have a lot of respect for the competition of the ACC this year, but he's been there a long time. He's been on the hot seat so many times, and he's continued to do what he does. And to see that they're 22-5 and they're ranked top 15 in the country, I'd love to see them go to an Elite 8 or a Sweet 16. I just think that they play good basketball. They beat Kentucky at home this year. They've won the games they've needed to, which says a lot. So that's a couple teams that stick out.
Another team, George, hanging around, laying in the weeds is Memphis at number 18. And they've got a couple losses in conference that might ding them a seed line a little bit. And any time they lose really in that conference, it hurts them. But you wonder if this is the year Hardaway puts it together with a new roster and makes a run.
I'm not buying it. You know who I am buying?
Maryland.
Look at number 25 on that list.
BYU,
I thought was nothing more than a product of playing in that Marriott Center, which is one of the great home courts that nobody knows anything about. But Taylor, I also saw them go to Arizona Saturday and win, and that shocked me.
Did you see the foul at the end?
Yeah. Well, look, Arizona got screwed.
That's a phantom foul.
Oh, it's an absolute phantom. I mean, the supervisor of officials in that league has got to be going, what are they doing?
I couldn't believe that.
BYU went toe-to-toe on the road with Arizona. And Taylor, I didn't think they could do that.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's not an easy place to play. And Arizona's good. They're really good. So, at the team that's come up as late, they're playing a lot better down the stretch. I was surprised you didn't. I thought you were going to say St. Mary's, George. You really loved them this year.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
No, in all honesty, St. Mary's, all they do is run pick and roll constantly. Because Marciulionis is really good, and he knows how to distribute the ball. But man cannot live by pick and roll alone.
Michigan would like to differ with 7-footers.
I don't know. I mean, look, first of all, for all the talk about how great Gonzaga's been over the years, you ever seen Gonzaga? You ever seen them lift a banner, a national title banner? Never.
What was the last time they played in the national championship? They lost to North Carolina on the game winner.
North Carolina. Taylor, what was going on was that year, whatever year it was, it was when Baylor beat them.
Okay.
In the national title. And everybody was, this is the year of Gonzaga. And I went out on a limb. I was like, it ain't happening. They're losing. And so everybody thinks I'm a Gonzaga hater, which I'm not. Yeah. But it sure sounds like I am.
Yeah. The other team that I would say from that list that I like is Purdue. I know they lost Zach Edey, and they just lost to Indiana at Indiana. But I think that they've got good guard play in Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer. That they're experienced. They've got Trakoff and Wren, who's been really good this year, past couple years. And I love Matt Painter. And talk about a team that doesn't just run a bunch of ball screens. They're really hard to prepare for.
I know we got to hit a break, but by the way, Matt Painter after that game brought up he was imploring Indiana fans to basically not give up on Mike Woodson. I know it's already been announced he's not coming back, but he basically said, hey, don't bash these support your coaches, even because you still got a season left to play. And Indiana all of a sudden starting to play a little bit better.
Yeah, they didn't play real well yesterday, but it raises the curious point of, what if he got them in the tournament and they got to the Elite Eight? They still firing him?
It gets interesting.
Taylor?
And also, who knows? Like he really may want to be done too. I don't know. if you make an Elite Eight at Indiana in the climate of college basketball, and maybe he just wants to be done. You just never know. Circumstances change very quickly in this business.
That's one of the things we're going to talk with Kirk Haston about tomorrow, former down toward Perry County star who ended up playing for Bobby Knight at Indiana. He will join us tomorrow afternoon around 3:45. Taylor, you were good to do this.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of the day.
Send me the invoice, double the pay. Okay, we'll go to the break. We'll do stat of the day, and then we'll set up a chalk talk. If you love football, you're going to love what we're going to play for you. This is 94.9, The Fan.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket. The Predators win! Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Trax machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
This is the most anticipated March Madness that we have had in a long time. There's going to be some great basketball, and the George Plaster Show has it all covered. Whether we take our show to your business or you simply endorse things like March Madness scoreboard updates or other features, we've got it all covered. If you want to be part of a big March Madness, simply email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com. We can fit all of your needs, and we'll find out what your budget will allow. And the George Plaster Show has it all covered. Whether we take our show to your business or you simply endorse things like March Madness scoreboard updates or other features, we've got it all covered. If you want to be part of a big March Madness, simply email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com. We can fit all of your needs, and we'll find out what your budget will allow.
Amber Indian.
What the Titans are going to do with that number 1 overall pick is really, really interesting. It would be a very easy answer if this was a good quarterback class. The Titans need a quarterback, and typically you would draft number 1 with a quarterback, but it's not a good quarterback class. And very few people think that Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward should go number 1. It's a weird draft. So I actually think the Titans are interesting.
Amber and Ian.
How could we not have Aaron Rodgers on this list of most interesting players of the NFL offseason? Yes, he's a 40-something-year-old quarterback. Yes, the last few seasons have been rough from Aaron Rodgers. And yes, his time in New York was a complete and total disaster. And yet he's still Aaron Rodgers, which automatically makes him interesting.
Amber Indian.
Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on Sirius XM Channel 80.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Hear from some NFL legends, I guess you could say, -1. No, I'm kidding. Kelly Holcomb, Kevin Dyson, and Steve Hutchinson coming up with a great chalk talk from yesterday down at the Franklin Marriott for the National Football Foundation. So we'll get to hear from that. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800. Or log on to applecollisioncenters.com. All right, it took Zion Williamson, another Zion-included question, to reach 2,000 points in his 79th career game. The fastest in the NBA since whom?
Good Lord.
That's a whale of a question.
This is bringing a needle out of a haystack. Steph Curry.
You're going to go Steph Curry?
Why not?
You are incorrect. It is Michael Jordan.
So we're really going back.
Yeah.
Going back deep. Well, that's a pretty good player right there.
Not too bad. That's a brutal question, by the way.
The best I've ever seen. That guy right there.
Man, I've always wondered, I mean, watching The Last Dance, because that was during COVID.
Yeah.
And that was, which great time to put that thing out.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. And I felt like, I watched it with my brothers. I remember telling them, I feel like I'm experiencing it, like witnessing it. Maybe it's because there's nothing else on and it felt better, but man, that was a great look at what went on.
It was incredible. So let me sort of set up what's going on here. I've been a part of the board of the Middle Tennessee chapter of the National Football Foundation for about 20 years. And it's one of the better kept secrets in Nashville. We honor 68 high school kids at 68 different schools across a bunch of different counties. We honor 7 college scholar athletes, and we have 10 other awards that are given out last night. I've emceed this thing for years, for 20 years, right at. It was Reno Benson, one of our board members, who came up with the idea of a chalk talk for all of the young high school and college student athletes that were being given awards. And we've done this now for about 5 years. There's a picture of how pathetic I look in a tux. Kelly, who's also a board member, also in a tux. Former Titan wide receiver Kevin Dyson, and NFL Hall of Fame offensive lineman, the best of his era, Steve Hutchinson, who played for the Seattle Seahawks and toward the end of his career was a Tennessee Titan for a year. If you love football, I think you're going to really enjoy this. Listen in.
And participate. So.
Wally, thank you. Here's what's weird, and I thought about this on the way in today. None of y'all were alive when the Titans pulled that miracle, which is very sobering. But all of you have seen the play, haven't you? Okay, so the play is Lorenzo Neal handing off to the late Frank Wycheck, who throws it to this guy. I want to know at what yard line, Doctor, that you said to yourself, oh my God, I'm going to score.
I don't know. I just remember Doug Christie going down and falling and thinking, what you just said. Oh, I'm about to score. Because right before he went out to the field, Jeff Fisher was giving all the nuances of the play because I wasn't supposed to be on the field. And he said, if you get in trouble, go out of bounds because all we need was a field goal to win the game. So, and when I saw Doug Christie fall down, man, that's what it was, smooth sailing. And after that point, it was just celebration.
It was unbelievable. It was Nashville has never been in a bigger frenzy about sports. It was our first playoff game. It was on a Saturday morning at 11:30, and Doug Flutie was a Buffalo Bills quarterback at the time. The Bills kick a field goal with like 15 seconds left to go up by 1. I've got to get over to the Wild Horse Saloon to do post game. So I am one of many people who lies about it and says, oh, I was there. But I really wasn't. I was on the sidewalk and I hear this roar. And I was like, oh crap, what have I missed? And I go back in time to see on the scoreboard the video of what kind of is going on. So the officials get in that little peep show to decide whether it's a legal play or a forward lateral. What was y'all's sideline like as that was going on?
Everybody just kept asking me, was it a lateral? And I was like, yeah, I wasn't no doubt, because from my perspective, I lunged backwards. And I just assumed that's just what it was. It was a lateral, wasn't even close. You know, we was at home, and a lot of people don't realize that was the first year that they brought back replay. So it was one of the most significant replays of that season because it was being new again. Now it's a staple of the game, but and they just kept asking me, well, did you get back? Did you get back? I said, yeah, I got back. Wasn't even close. It wasn't until I got home and I saw, and I was like, oh, it was close. It was close. But it's still a lateral. 25 years later, it was still a lateral to this day. I will go to my grave saying it was a lateral. It was a lateral.
So 30 minutes later at the Wild Horse, there were 3,500 drunks in there. There wasn't a sober person in the house. It was wild. It was a celebration like I've never seen. Anybody in the room know the name of the play?
Music City Miracle?
Well, yeah, but the name of the play, the actual, what did they call it? In other words, yeah, it was the Music City Miracle, but what was the name of the play that they called to try to set it up? Anybody know? Wally?
Home run throwback.
Home run throwback. You get to become president of the Middle Tennessee chapter. Congratulations. Kelly, you as a former Buffalo Bill think it's an illegal play?
No question.
I don't know why they sat me next to them.
No question, man. It was. I remember watching it, and you think, but you know, the rules in the National Football League are so. Like his arm was forward. He did. It was a lateral. There's no doubt about it. It was a lateral. I mean, it's different. The rules in college and the pros are different. But if you look at it in slow motion, it was a lateral. But can't go back now. And those referees, if they would have called that,
oh my God,
they would have never gotten out of the stadium. So,
can you all hear us okay in the back? Okay, good. They'd have never gotten out alive.
No, absolutely not. They'd have never gotten out of the locker room.
Okay, important stuff. Steve Hutchinson was as good an offensive lineman as the NFL ever had. And when Wally talked about him, 2020 inductee into the NFL Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and then a year ago inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, the ceremony taking place in Las Vegas. Steve, talk to them a little bit about the whole Canton thing, because we've seen it on TV. We see how emotional it is. It's got to be an incredible experience.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, that's the understatement. It's changed a little bit now, the way they do it. If anybody has seen the last couple of years, I actually had the privilege of doing the knock here locally for one of my former teammates too. With Jared, you were with Jared. You in Minnesota with Jared, or did you?
He was gone. Yeah, he was gone already.
So Jared Allen just got in It was announced he'll be in this year's class, so I got to go do the knock. But when I did it, they start in August with like 120 guys on the ballot for every year. And then at some point in November, they narrow that down to 25. And then around the beginning of January, they'll narrow it down to 15. So those are your 15 finalists. And then the way they did it when I got in 5 years ago, they bring all 15 finalists to the Super Bowl, and they put you up in a hotel, and then they actually have the vote Saturday morning. The day they had the vote Saturday morning prior to the Super Bowl. And there's 50 national writers, AP writers in there. They're in there for 8, 10, 12 hours, however long it takes, and they go from 15 to 5. And then they tell you to be in your room at like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, and you're just waiting. So the 5 guys that get in, you get a knock on the door that says you made it. The 10 guys that didn't, you'll get a phone call that says maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
Wow. So that's what, and I got in on my third attempt. I got the phone call from the hotel while I was at the hotel the first 2 years, and then the third year I got the knock. So it's it's crazy. It's I started playing football probably like a lot like you guys when I was 6 years old. I mean, I didn't grow up here, but my son started playing West Nashville League over there at Percy Warner, and playing, and that's when I started. And when I got that knock, it's like your whole football life just kind of gets blended into one snapshot. Like, high school, playing, city rec league, high school, college, the pros, all the years you spent, and it's not even the stuff on the field. It's like, it's the things you did when nobody was looking. Was that extra workout? Did that make a difference? Was it sitting in the room watching a little extra film before you, I used to watch film on Saturdays before I'd go to the hotel when I was in the NFL, and I'd sit in the offensive line room by myself for a good hour and a half, and just kind of last snapshot of what the guy was going to do that I was going against. And that's the kind of stuff that goes through your mind, when you get that knock, because, it's those little things that add up. It's the details.
Who was your presenter in Canton?
Yeah, so it was my center from Seattle, Rob Tobeck. He was kind of like my mentor when I got drafted. He had been in the league 9 or 10 years, and we, to this day, probably one of the closest guys I had ever played with. We still keep in contact and all that. So he presented me.
Okay, in the last year, Steve kind of got the daily double with the College Football Hall of Fame. How do they do it?
Yeah, it's a little different. When you go to Canton, you're kind of responsible for everything. You've got to invite all the people you want to invite, family, high school coaches, if you still keep in contact, high school friends, college teammates, college coaches, as you can imagine, that, hundreds of people showing up for it. You got to get the tickets and deal with all that, or at least set it up, put them all in the same section. And then you got to write a speech, and I don't know if you guys ever watched the ceremony in August every year. This August, it's always around that first preseason game. It's a whole week really of different events and getting the jacket one night, giving a speech, getting the induction, all that stuff. College is a little bit more relaxing. There's no speeches, anything like that. You kind of show up to Vegas. You got a press conference, and then there's a really nice banquet, and then they give you a ring and they send you a jacket. I just actually got mine this week in the mail. So it's a little bit more relaxed. People can buy tickets. Family members can come if they want, but it's not. It's actually a lot more really enjoyable. You don't have to deal with all the logistics.
And in the middle is Kelly, and Kelly is a radio sports talk show personality. He and I do, along with Billy Derrick, a show on 94.9 from 3 to 5 p.m. every day. This is a shameless plug, but you know what? We're not getting paid, so what the hell? If any of you will listen tomorrow, you may double our audience. But on to Kelly's career. That didn't go over as well as I thought it would. If you look through Kelly's bio, there is one particular game that will stand out above the rest. It's a playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers where he threw for something in the neighborhood of 450 yards as the Cleveland Browns quarterback. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
You just had to bring that up, though, right? Because we lost.
Well, yeah, but I mean, nonetheless.
Cleveland was in the playoffs.
That's right.
Look, I had to find something. Seriously, what was that like for you where everything clicked on the biggest stage you could have it click?
It's kind of like Steve was talking about, prepared. I remember going into that game and I was prepared. I watched film. I met with the receivers. You have a good week of practice, and I knew what the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to do before the Pittsburgh Steelers did it, which is a really cool feeling. And when you get in those moments, I've been in those moments a bunch of times. I'm sure these guys have too, where you're just like you're not even thinking about anything. It's just out in the backyard with your buddies on Thanksgiving Day 20 years ago, and you're just playing football, and that's kind of what it was. So it was a cool deal to be able to do that, but unfortunately we lost the game. We were up, I think we were up 33-13 at some point, and then we went to the fourth quarter and they scored right before the fourth quarter started, and then they came back on us and beat us 36-33. So I appreciate George bringing that up, but
anytime.
That was that's kind of what, there's nothing like being in a huddle. There's nothing like being in a game. You guys just got finished with the greatest game ever. I still love it. There's nothing like it, and I hope all you guys are, go on and go past and go to college. But when it's over and when it's final, it's pretty rough. I used to coach, and I used to tell those young guys, man, the finality of it is something. Like when you go, if you're able to make it to the playoffs or your last game, you just don't understand that finality of it. And I hope you guys all get to go play, but all three of us were fortunate enough to go on to college and then go on to the pros. But it never, like on that final deal, both these guys have final deals, final plays, final games, and there's nothing like playing football. There's nothing like it. You can't experience anything like it in your life, man. I've tried. You hear all these stories about guys coming out and there's nothing like it. Well, there's nothing like it. We got to play a game and got paid well to play a game, and that's what it was designed for. And I just, if I could go back today, I wish I don't miss practice. I don't miss all that other stuff, but I miss the guys. I miss guys hanging around dudes. I remember I miss going to the locker room. I miss, being able to go out to practice. I wish I could have one more day. And that's, you guys are young, and if you get to go and just experience, like every day, I know y'all hear this, but every day you feel like it's the last day that you're ever going to play, because you never know when that's coming, and when it does come, it sucks. But there's nothing like it in the world. All these people want to break down football, but there's no game in the world that's like football.
Initially, when we decided about 4 years ago to do the Chalk Talk, it was basically because you all would sit in that room for about an hour and a half and sort of what I call hurry, 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 wait, wait, wait. And one of our board members, Reno Benson, came up with this idea. And over the last 3 years, it's really been good. Kelly, I tried to force the issue. I have gone to every table and told them, you are going to ask an intelligent question, or we're going to force the issue and come to your table. I want you guys sort of, if you could pass on one message to these guys, having played, Kevin, in your case now, having gotten into school administration, I want each of y'all to sort of give them a message you would want them to hear. By the way, he's a doctor. To me, he's still Kevin Dyson. Okay, that's where we're going to stop it for now. I wanted you all to get to experience a little bit of this. I'm hoping you enjoyed it. The Q&A between the high school and the college scholar athletes, and the threesome is really good. And I may run that at some point in the next 3 days. Here's what we are going to do. We're going to go to the break, and then we're going to open up the phone lines for whatever you want to get into. The last couple of weeks, y'all have been a little slow on the draw. I need you to pick it up a little bit. We try to give you a good amount of time where you all can talk some. So I want to hear from you. The phone is the old traditional way. It's 615-553-0933. If there is a new caller out there today, that would fire me up. Somebody who's calling for the first time. I want that to happen. Again, 615-553-0933. What about text?
Yeah, chat room is open. Question that posed today is, does Tennessee deserve a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament? Obviously, still a lot of basketball left, but what do you think? We'd like to hear from you on that. If you want to ask any other basketball questions, NFL, Titans, whatever you want to get into, the chat room is open. You can ask a question or put in a comment that are on YouTube. It's to the right of the stream. You can also swipe up on Twitter and Facebook as well. So we'd love to hear from you.
We need action. We need phone calls. We need a little traffic. This is 94.9, The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. At gmail.com. Again, plastergeorge at gmail.com. We will fit your budget and your needs. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
Hey, Preds fans, the Predators continue their homestand tomorrow night against the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. The game is tomorrow night at 7. Pre-game radio coverage begins at 6.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back. The next couple of days, we're going to make an announcement about another one of the live shows that we try to do out here at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. Still got room, got 4 calls on the line. If you want to get in, got time to get to you as well at 615-553-0933. Let's start with Eric in Nashville. Eric, what's shaking?
Hey, George, a couple of things I was going to get to, but one thing I was going to ask you, did you hear about the story about the kid with his grandfather went to his box of baseball cards and found, 12-year-old kid found a Babe Ruth autographed baseball card?
Yeah, how about that?
Wow.
It was in Indiana. It was in... Huh? I have no idea. He's like 12 years old, was going through a box of his cards with his granddad. Now, he said that he doesn't plan to sell it, but, I'm kind of surprised he said he wants to keep the card. But, yeah, it was in Indiana, and, yeah, that just blew me away.
How do you just come up with that?
I don't know, but I need to get lucky.
Yeah. He apparently was going through with his granddad, but I think they both were like love baseball cards, collected baseball cards, and apparently went to a box and somehow found it. He discovered it. I don't know where specifically was that, but he found it because I saw the story earlier today.
Good Lord.
Okay,
how
it was
crazy
an
is
old,
that?
I'm looking it up. It was an old pack that hadn't been opened yet.
Yeah.
And who knows when
God.
that came out, what year.
Do they say what they think it's worth?
It doesn't in this article, but I can't imagine.
Yeah, that's not a 50 center.
No.
No. I wish I was lucky enough to have that kind of a find.
Don't we all?
George, yeah. Hey, George, a couple other things I want to talk about. First of all, I guess with Major League Baseball season are you going to have your baseball guy on coming up in a few weeks when the baseball season starts?
Danny Evans, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. And also, I think, the NFL Combine is this week. Is Terry McCormick going to be reporting from there, or are you going to have daily reports from there?
Yeah, we're going to have we'll get with Terry and get him on some because there's hopefully some important stuff that comes out of it. There's a lot of posturing. You get a lot of lying that goes on, but hopefully some pretty good stuff too.
Yeah. Well, and this is my last thing, and I'll get off and let you get some other calls. I guess I heard there was a report today that an anonymous team has come out and wanted the NFL tush push banned. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. I don't know who it is. If I had to guess, it wouldn't surprise me if Washington consider what all happened at the end of the game where they're talking about awarding Philadelphia a score after all that stuff. I don't know realistically what you can do about that. To me, I feel like, if you come away, stop it. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere, but just want to get your thoughts about that. Guys, I'll get off. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Eric, thank you. Didn't you say it was Green Bay?
Yeah, the Packers submitted a proposal to the competition committee to ban the tush push.
I'm for banning it, partly because I think if you watch the play really close, number one, there are a lot of injuries that come out of it. And secondly, there are a lot of plays where people are offsides. And I don't know if the officials simply can't see exactly what it is they need to see, but you end up watching and the play that is allowed feels like it's illegal.
Yeah, Packers president Mark Murphy said, "I'm not a fan of the play. There's no skill involved, and it's almost an automatic first down on plays of a yard or less. The series of plays with the Commanders jumping off sides in the NFC Championship game to try to stop the play was ridiculous. The referee even threatened to give the Eagles an automatic touchdown if the Commanders did not stop it."
We might ought to do a poll one day and see how our listeners feel about it. Let's go to Clay in Nashville. Clay, you're on 94.9 The Fan.
Plavs, how we doing today?
We're doing good. Hope you are.
Billy, I hope you're doing good. Maybe you, Kelly is not present today, correct?
Yes, which makes my day better.
Yes, it does. So you don't have to worry about him picking on you. I will comment off of Pokey also saying that first time he's seen Kelly, Kelly just kind of seems like a grouch to me. What do y'all think?
And yet he's not. He's really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He's cynical beyond belief. I don't know that I've ever run into anybody quite like Kelly.
Anyway, I wanted to talk about Vanderbilt's win Saturday, and Billy, through the podcast and things like that. Y'all have talked about this, but Mr. Magnon, there was some games where Jalen Carey, really stepped up, but Chris Magnon, when you look at his stat line from that game, I think he played 21 minutes. He had 16 points, a guy that's averaging 5. He had 7 rebounds. I think three or four steals or assists and 3 or 4 steals maybe. That may not be exactly right, but point is, the guy really stepped up. I thought it was interesting. It's 64-62 Ole Miss, late, and Tyler Tanner and Chris Magnon personally responsible for a 9-0 run, and Chris Magnon hit a 3 to make it 67-64. I believe Tyler Tanner had the assist on the dunk by Chris Magnon, and then Tyler Tanner dribbling around and then taking it to the hole and laying it in. I thought Tyler Tanner's 6 points were important too, but a huge win, and hopefully that gives Vanderbilt a little bit of leeway, on the bubble as we head down the stretch here.
Yeah, and about 80% of the SEC games teeter on a group of plays. And when Ole Miss got up 2 after being down 19, I think if 2 more possessions had gone Ole Miss's way, they win that game.
I'm with you. I mean, Ole Miss didn't score, Clay, the last 4 minutes of the game. They turned the ball over. Vanderbilt's defense forced a lot of those turnovers. Like you said, without Magnon, Vandy didn't win that game.
No, they don't win that thing without
He hit
him.
a couple threes. Both of them were big. The 3 late was off of a steal from himself. So he played the game of his career.
Yeah, and going forward as we go down the stretch, I look at the Missouri. Let's say you have to win 2 to be 8-10, which I think maybe is true. I think 7-11 potentially you could get in, but I think it's major wringing of the hands time on Selection Sunday. But so, we're going to walk probably into a buzzsaw Wednesday night. By the way, and I think I'm right in saying this, I think Vanderbilt is now going to face an opponent for the 9th straight game that opponent has lost their previous game. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Anyway, A&M is going to be tough. So I look at the Missouri game at home. Missouri's good. If the white kid that's such a good 3-point shooter, I don't remember his name, but
Grill.
they've got the guy from Duke. So that's going to be a tough game. But if you lose these next 2, then you're put in a position maybe where you have to win the last 2. Arkansas at home, which may be the easiest game, if you want to say that, in this conference this year. And then at Georgia certainly won't be easy. So I look at Missouri maybe at home if you can knock them off, and that's another ranked win.
So, Clay, let me run this by you real quick, and then I got to go. I think they've got 3 ways to get in. One is to simply win the final 2 home games, Missouri and Arkansas. They win both of them, I think they're in. The second option is to win one of the 2 and win at Georgia. That gets them in. The third option to me is you split Missouri, Arkansas at home, and then you win the opening round SEC tournament game, which right now looks like it's Oklahoma. Those are 3 ways I think they get in.
I would think these kids would love a matchup again with Oklahoma as the train wreck the second half was. I think they'd be extremely motivated.
Thanks for the call.
Thanks.
Let's go, Tony in Nolensville before the break. Tony, how are you today?
I'm doing good, George. Billy, you doing good?
Yes, sir. What's up, Tony?
Is there anything, Billy, you'd like to get off your chest or that you've been holding in? Since Kelly's not there, you'd like to say about him? You just go ahead and get it out.
There's therapy for this.
Now's the time.
Oh, absolutely.
No, all good things to say about Kelly.
George, by the way, thank you for showing that. I did know that took place over the weekend, and what a great event. And, of course, talked to Poggy about it today a little bit. It was like a reunion for all of you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. I tell you what, Tony, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to run, I don't know, later this week maybe, the questions out of the audience, some of which were terrific, and some of the responses, because as you could tell, those guys are really good.
Right, no doubt. And I'm looking forward to that. I really am. That'll be fun to listen to. That'll be good radio stuff right there. George, I've been watching, of course, preseason has opened up as far as spring training. And I saw where 13 spring training facilities are going to start using the ABS, the automatic ball and strike device. What do you think about that? Do you think it's good, or what's your take?
Well, I would hate to get rid of umpires. I think that's a bad move, but I like what the minor leagues have done. If you go to a Sounds game on certain nights where they use it, you've got a certain number of abilities to challenge a pitch. And the beauty of it is, unlike all these things that
right now, what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, what happens is that whatever mechanism they're using gives you the answer within 10 seconds. It's incredible.
Right.
And so if it were me, I keep the umpires, but I do exactly what's happening on the minor league level.
Oh, and I'm with you, George. I'm a purist, a traditionalist. You got to keep the human element in there. You just do. But with the teams only having 2 challenges per 9 innings, of course, and it's going to go into effect, they say, in 2026 in the major leagues, that you're going to have to be real selective on when you use your 2 challenges, because either a pitcher, a batter, or the is it the umpire or the head coach can call for the challenge. Umpire's not going to call for it. It'd be the head coach.
Actually, the batter on minor league level, the batter can do it.
Yep.
Right. It's the batter or the pitcher or the head coach. And they do the tapping of their head, and then and like you say, in a 10 seconds, it's done, and I love that. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out with that new rule, and then the first base being the double base, all that. I like that also. One last thing, I'll get off here so you can go to break. Last week, maybe y'all talked about this, maybe you didn't, but I heard at the end of the week after Friday, I think it was late Friday, what PK Subban, what he said about the NBA and their All-Star game and some of the players sitting out. And did y'all see all that?
No, what'd he say?
He called the NBA weak. He called the guys soft. He told them for them getting paid the money that they do, and then the fans dropping $2,500 a ticket to come to an All-Star game or come to the games, and they're not playing. He said they need to be out there thinking of the fans and thinking of their teammates, all these people that they're letting down because of these the crappy All-Star games that they're putting out there. Boy, he come out blasting them.
Wow.
But I didn't know if y'all saw that. I just happened to see it at the tail end of the week. But, yeah, PK come out slamming the NBA and the NBA players for setting out all-star games and setting out some games. So
it's hard to argue with him. Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to say again.
I said it's hard to argue with him.
Oh, you're right. Absolutely. I mean, he's on point with it. So I'm going to let you get the break, George. Good show, guys, and looking forward to you playing some Q&A with what y'all attended the other night. Thank you, guys. See you, buddy.
After the break, we'll talk with Jeff in Murfreesboro and Frank in Smyrna. Stay tuned. This is 94.9 The Fan.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Proportions.
Sports. We're not living in an era where perfection is necessary.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Today, we're still 56 degrees, and that's kind of nice compared to a week ago.
Beautiful day.
Yeah. Jeff in Murfreesboro, get us.
How's it going, George?
Good. How about you?
Not bad. I just want to say, I think this net thing is I want to see where certain teams are ranked. St. John's is 18th right now. They're the highest Big East ranked team. They're ranked 7th in the polls. Of course, Patino got through beating earlier the other day, beat him twice this year now. And he's doing a great job at St. John's. I hope they go far in the tournament. But the SEC teams I was looking at, And for Clay out there, of the 14 teams that's going to have a chance to make it, Vanderbilt is 43. They're 13th ranked in the SEC. Oklahoma is 51. They're number 14. LSU and South Carolina's in the 80s. They're not going to turn me anyway. I'm not counting them too. Okay, Arkansas is ahead of them. Arkansas is 40 in the net. Georgia's 41. Both of them are 16 and 11, and they're ahead of them in the net. So, and Arkansas got a huge win this week. I think it'll help them make a tournament. I think they're going to make because they're strength of schedule myself.
Yeah, they beat Missouri.
Strength of schedule and everything. But I didn't watch much of it. Didn't watch Kentucky, Alabama. I must have read a little bit. They weren't going to be Alabama anyway because they're short-handed right now. If they can get those two guys back, if they can get Robinson and Butler back, and the guard Chris, he's thinking about a medical redshirt. I don't think he's going to come back at all. He might even come back. If they can get them two back, they'll be good. If they don't, they won't do anything. And believe me, nobody's feeling sorry for us. They want to see us lose every time we go out anyway. You know, because George, I remember you told me that you didn't think Ray did in football. You think Ray did in basketball? You think the AS and SEC in basketball? You think
Hold on. I lost you. Say that again.
During football season, I told you it was really meant disrespect. I told you Ray did in football, and you pretty much slammed me. So let me ask you this: do you think Ray did in basketball in the SEC?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Ain't no doubt. That's right. No doubt. They want to see us go 0-18 every year. No question. They don't want to see us win anything. So, I don't know what to do the rest of the year, but they've already beat Duke, Florida, Tennessee twice, Gonzaga. They've got to see one. That's 5 wins over the top 10 in the net. Duke is 2, Tennessee's 5, Alabama 6, and Gonzaga's 10. Mr. Derek, you said we're 8 or 9. Do you still believe that?
Well, I mean, they've got some really good wins.
You still believe it?
Doesn't Lenardi have them more like a 5?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
They projected a 3, George, a 3 seed, but they projected 3.
They got to start playing some defense, though, Jeff.
Well, they might, but they're not going to be no 8 or 9 seed. I think they're 10, whatever it is. If they're 9 or 10, then Bama ought to be about 12 or 13 if they are. I can tell you right now, Dave. All right, so I said, what's Vanderbilt going to do? They better hurry up and do something. Like I say, so So y'all hang in there, though. But like I say, I want our thing, George. I want that about the balls and strike thing. You might as well just put that in too, because they ruined baseball anyway. Just put that in there. Hurry up and get it over with. Hurry up. Get them groceries in. Hurry up. Y'all have a good day, guys. See you.
Okay,
Thanks,
let's see where he's got Kentucky as a 3 seed. Lenardi does in Cleveland, playing UT Chattanooga. How about that?
They've got some really good wins, but you watch Kentucky and wonder defensively how they've won some of the games they've won.
Yeah, they're not as good on the defensive end as some of the teams that they're lumped in around.
But they can flat out.
But they also have better offensive skills than a lot of them.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a trade-off. Frank in Smyrna. He might be back in town. Frank, what's going on?
Hey, George. Hey, Billy. Not much. Oh, man. I got to follow that last caller. Wow. Anyway. Sorry, Jeff. I just can't. Anyway. No, yes, I'm back in town. Arrived here Friday night. I think I finally unthawed yesterday afternoon. I did go to the Vandy Ole Miss game and the Predators game. I did both. Left Memorial Gym very happy that they found a way to win that game. I thought, this team cannot play in the second half. What is wrong with these guys? It's happening again. I didn't fly 750 miles for this, and all of a sudden, Mannion and Tanner just, they found a way to win, and I was proud of them. Still am. I absolutely believe they're going to get in the NCAA tournament, and I think that gives some people trouble. They're one of those teams that if they can get in, they're going to be picked to upset. People are going to feel like Brack and say, this is an upset possibility here. I think they're going to find a way in. It would be nice to beat. Well, first off, it'd be nice to beat Texas A&M on the road. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do like their chance against Missouri, and there's just no excuse in losing to Arkansas or Georgia. I'm sorry, especially Georgia. That's where I stand. I think they're going to get in, and even if they need to win the SEC tournament, I think they'll get that. As for the Predators game, I don't even know what to say. I got there Saturday night. I only missed about the first 7-8 minutes of the game. They ended up winning. And so I decided, okay, well, let's see what happens tonight. So I go last night. Nothing's changed since I left 2 months ago, George. I come back.
No, last night's completely
I don't know. That last night was the biggest crap show I've ever seen, and that's putting it nicely.
How bad did they get booed?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't recall hearing that many boos. I think the fans, there was a lot of Devil fans there. I'll say that. I think the fans in the stands, I guess you're dollars like me. We're just so over this team and know that this season's lost and over with. And I hate to say I hate to say the fans didn't care they checked out, but that's kind of what it feels like. It is a dead atmosphere at that game last night.
Yeah.
I got nothing left. It was 4-0. It's just, and I'm probably going to go tomorrow night and Thursday while I'm still in town. But, they're asking for season ticket renewals. Boy, I've had them since 2002, and I've never had to really think about it much. Am I going to renew or not? I've never really had to consider that, but I'm having to consider it now because.
Oh, I get it. Listen, here's what Barry Trotz has got away. Okay, you've now had 2 separate incidents where they were not the least bit ready to play. In Chicago, they're down 6-1 to a crummy Blackhawks team. And then they lose at home 5-0. I mean, that's unacceptable. And to me,
it absolutely is.
That's on Andrew Barnette. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's his job to have his team ready to play. And, I really wonder, given that they're in the business of needing to sell season tickets, we all know what it's like in hockey. There's not a bunch of huge TV money. You got to sell tickets. How do you sell bringing all this back? I don't know. I think it's going to be hard.
I don't either. A lot of empties last night. I had to laugh at it when I looked at the box score this morning, and they announced the attendance 17,159. Are you serious? If there was 15, maybe 14,000 there yesterday, maybe. A lot of empty seats, especially in the lower bowl and the shoot twice zone down at the other end, the opposite end of the arena from your seats and mine. It just. And this was a 5:00 game on Sunday. I mean, you can't say it was. You can't say, well, it's a late night game or whatever. You couldn't say that. It's just I don't know. It's I personally think there needs to be a coaching change. I get asked this question in Florida quite a bit. When I've gone to Lightning games, do you think there's going to be a coaching change in Nashville? I said there needs to be. In my opinion. It's not working. It's not working.
Yeah. And something's not working for the moment. Let's leave it there because I got to go to a break.
Understood, George. Good talking to you. If you're there tomorrow night, I hope I see you because I'll probably go see the defending Stanley Cup champs. Why not? Right? Why not?
See you then.
All right. Thanks.
We'll go to the break. Plaster bet of the day involves what I think will be an absolute barn burner. Stick around. Let's see how it works out. The George Plaster Show gets advertisers the results they're looking for. For example, here's Metro Nashville police officer Garen Hoskins.
You hear me all the time on the show talk about,
changes in career and people looking to serve their community and get into law enforcement and join a great department. And I just so happened to meet an individual who heard my segment on your show and has already applied, has come from multiple different career paths and has always had this dream. And we're very glad to have him. And that's just going to be the start of many.
If you want to be part of the Plaster Show advertising family, it's simple. Just email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com. Again, plastergeorge@gmail.com. We will fit your budget and your needs.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We got a ranked basketball matchup tonight. Number 4, Houston at number 10, Texas Tech. That's at 8 o'clock on ESPN. A big one up in Clarksville. Lipscomb at Austin P. A battle in the ASUN. So,
ESPNU, 6 o'clock. Be there. Aloha.
Get ready. We'll see what happens in hoops tonight. Lots of opportunities for upsets and also for George to get back in winning way. Well, you had a pretty solid weekend, and you're still over 500. So
what'd we do?
Well, 2-1. It's brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Here is a look at what happened over the weekend. A win with Vandy, who covered plus 1.5 and won the game. Oklahoma knocked off Mississippi State. You had that one minus 1.5. SMU plus 1.5 did not work.
That was disappointing. Clemson may be better than I'm giving them credit. I thought they'd go down to Dallas and get beat, and it wasn't anywhere close.
Clemson's good.
Yeah. So the game tonight at 8 o'clock, if you are a basketball fan, Houston at Texas Tech is worth watching. Number one, it's a revenge game. Texas Tech won in Houston several weeks ago. And when you watch the Houston team, they get after it. Boy, do they get after it. But Texas Tech is no slouch. They're 21-6. And in Lubbock, they are really good. So guess what? I'm going with the upset. I'm going Texas Tech. Blue Raiders plus 2.5.
I like
at
that.
home against the old Cougs.
Take the dog at home. That's been good in college basketball this year.
That'll be a hell of an environment. I know we're done tomorrow. Tony Basilio, his weekly Knoxville visit. And then Kirk Haston, former Indiana Hoosier, to talk about his program and is it revivable to anything close to the Bobby Knight days. See you tomorrow.